Siman Chof Aleph, we're talking about Tashlumin. Yeah. So Ksif Gimel. Ain't Tashlumin the Tefillah but Tefillah Smuchala. You can only have Tashlumin for davening in the Tefillah that's next to it. Avalim Nesachar Yoser, but if you missed later than that, Ain La Oy Tashlumin, then you don't have Tashlumin. Kegoin. Im Lo Yaspal Lo Shachris Lo Mincha. If you didn't daven, not Shachris and not Mincha, Hazai Mincha Yesh Lo Tashlumin Lachar Arvis Asmuchala. Then you can have tashlumin after Ma'ariv. Aval Shachris ain't lo tashlumin, but Shachris does not have tashlumin, right? Even she'avar shtei zmanei tefillas shelo yispalo, since he was already over two zmanei tefillas, loy b'zman of loy b'zman mincha, not in the proper time and not in the and not in the prop and not in the zman mincha. Meaning, if somebody davened Shachris, and somebody slept through Shachris and Mincha. Not so crazy. The Bachrim can sometimes sleep till who knows when. So now
I
all
could
they can
share.
do, Naftali, you got to mute, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, um, uh, so you can only do Tashlumin for Mincha. I'm sorry, you can only do, if you miss Shachris and Mincha, now you remember by Meir, so you can only do Tashlumin for Mincha, you cannot do Tashlumin for Shachris, because that's too far removed. You could only do it for the next Tefillah, and that's it. Dalit, Musaf, but if it's a day that has Musaf, Im lo yispal shachas, you didn't have a shachas, yachal hashlim la'achar mincha, you're allowed to be mashlim after mincha. The kivin is man tefillas musaf b'di'evet al halayla kamei mincha, because the zman musaf is b'di'evet until night, like mincha. Im kein lo over shtei zmanei tefillas. It's not considered being passing two zmanei tefillah, meaning if you have chakras and then you're supposed to daven musaf, so you would think, and really musaf should be davened by the seventh hour, so you would think that you already lost, meaning you had zman chakras, which is till the fourth hour, then you have zman musaf, which is till the seventh hour, and then it would be zman mincha until 12 hours, right? So maybe zman musaf would be considered the next zman and you missed it. We say no, because b'di'evet you're allowed to daven musaf until shkia, right? Ulachat tefillas musaf ena yachal lahashim tefillas shachas, and after tefillas musaf, you're not able to be mashim tefillas shachas. The kimin shemaskeba korban musaf, since he mentioned korban musaf, ena ru'iyah shetadol tefillas shachas, not going to help that it should work with tefillas shachas. V'ayim primagodim, simin kufches, eshel avram sifkot and vav. Chemadayin lo over zman tefillas shachris, but if he still didn't pass zman tefillas shachris, yachal espal shachris, afal pisha kvar espal musaf. Right, so then you're still allowed to daven shachris, even though you already davened musaf. Right? Okay, sif hey. Ain't tashlumin l'tefillah shehifsid ela b'zman tefillah smuchal. So you can't do tashlumin like we just said for the tefillah that you forgot, only with the zman tefillah that's smuchal. Avaloi b'shah she'ein zman tefillah, but not at the time that it's not zman tefillah. Gagoyin im shah harbe achar shespalo tefillah shichayv hashah. Let's say he waited after he davened the zman tefillah, which is a chayv shah, ain't a yachal espalol oy tashumi tefillah shehifsid. Then you're not allowed to daven any more the davening that you lost. If you should like tiknu tashlumin the tefillah shehifsid, because they were not misakin tashlumin for the tefillah that they lost. Ela b'zmanchu isaac b'tefillah she chayv shah. Only in this man that he's being Isaac in that time. She'az kivan shu Isaac b'tefillah who masham gamkein mashachisa, because since he's busy with tefillah, he can be mashlim what he's missing. Right, so he's saying something, um, meaning basically what he's saying, you have to daven it in the zman that's after, right? So if you miss shachris, you have only up until Ma'ariv time to finish to daven two minchas, right? So now what the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is saying, that let's say you daven mincha, and then you realized that you didn't daven shachris earlier, right? So now you remember 2 hours after you daven mincha. So the Kitzur is passing and says you can't daven tashlumin because your tefillah was already over, even though you're still in the proper zman to daven, but your tefillah was already over, so you can't daven. You can't daven. But the Mishnah Berurah disagrees with this, and he holds as long as you're in the Zman, then you're allowed to. All right? But the Mishnah Berurah says if you forgot and you're doing it like an hour or two after you daven your mincha, and you're going to daven another mincha v'shachas, again, you should do it tonight, like we discussed. The concept of doing it tonight, meaning, say, if you're mechuyev to daven, so the davening is a davening, and if not, then it's not. Then it's a present to Hashem. All right, so this is one of those cases where we don't paskin like the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Right? As far as I know, we don't paskin like the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Fine. Vav tfilas atashum and mispalo. The tfilas atashum and yidam achayu mispalo kamoshu mispalo as tfilas achayva. You have to daven the way you're davening tfilas chayva. Right? For example, I mean, okay, let's see his example first. Let's say a guy forgot to daven mincha erev Shabbos, or as was the shtickle common this past Friday, somebody forgot to say Yalav Yavai by mincha. Right? But that's a different issue. But let's say, yeah. So Mispal Arvis Shtayim Shel Shabbos, you daven Ma'ariv Shabbos twice, even though the mincha that you missed was a weekday Shemana Esrei, and all you're davening is two Shabbos Shemana Esreis, but that's what you do. Even though the second one is coming to do Tashumah Tfilas Chol, Shabbos. Still, since now is Shabbos, Mispal Shel Shabbos, he daven Shabbos. Mispal Shel Chol, Chol Mispal. And if you did daven a one Shabbos Shemanis or one weekday Shemanis, you have to go and daven again. Let's say somebody missed Mincha on Erev Rosh Chodesh. So you daven two Myras. And you say by both of them, Yalav Yavav. Vim lo yaspal arbes b'Rosh Chodesh, and if you didn't daven Myrav on Rosh Chodesh, mispal Shachar Shtayim, you daven two Shachrases. And Shakach Yalav Yavav afilu b'Shniya. If you forgot Yalav Yavav, even in the second one, Chayzer mispal, you go back and daven. Even though if you missed Yalav Yavav in Myrav, you don't go back. Even though it's Tashum for the Laila, meaning if you missed Yalav Yavai by Ma'ariv, you wouldn't have repeated. So why should you repeat it if you forgot it in your second Shemana Esrei in the morning? Right now it's day, and since you're davening during the day, and then you would repeat. Here, the Mishnah Berurah also disagrees and says that you cannot say the new Shemana Esrei is more chomer than the old one, and therefore he says you don't repeat. So they're not really seeing eye to eye here, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch and the Mishnah Berurah. But b'Shabbos, im lo hispal mincha, and let's say in Shabbos, if you didn't daven mincha, so which is actually what somebody just texted me right before the share, mispal arvas gam kein shtayim shel chol, you daven two weekday Shemana Esreis, ela sheyesh chilik v'atachon antonu. You don't have to say atachon antonu twice. Because that's your standard Ma'ariv. In the second one, you don't say it. And you don't have to say two Avdallas in your davening. Saying the opposite. If you forgot Ma'ariv Motzei Shabbos, right? The first one, you don't say Atachan Antonu because it's regular Sunday morning Shemana Esrei. The second one is the makeup for Ma'ariv, and then you say Atachan Antonu. Because the Ikra Takana is that you have to do Havdalah and Tefillah. Right? Mishnah Berurah brings that some say you don't say Atachan Antonu at all in Shemana Esrei. Right? And the Mishnah Berurah has a pshar. He says, if you already made Havdalah, then don't say Atachan Atana on either one. If you didn't say Havdalah, then you should. Zayin, Taber Rosh Chodesh b'Mincha v'Leimer Yalav Yavai. If you made a mistake by Rosh Chodesh Mincha, you didn't say Yalav Yavai. L'machar ain't a Rosh Chodesh, right? So this is a big hack. The next day is not Rosh Chodesh. So Mincha on Rosh Chodesh, you forgot Yalav Yavai, and the next night, meaning it's a one day Rosh Chodesh, or it was the second day Rosh Chodesh. Even if you daven Ma'ariv twice, you're not going to gain anything from it. Because you can no longer say Yalav Yavai. Without Yalav Yavai, you already daven. You don't daven tashlumin at all. Right? Here what it's saying, meaning What are you going to gain if you missed Yal V'Yove by Mincha on Rosh Chodesh? So you daven the Shemona Esrei, you forgot Yal V'Yove. Okay, so now that night you're going to say a second Shemona Esrei. So what are you going to do with Shemona Esrei without Yal V'Yove? You did that by Mincha. So what are you gaining? You're not
Aren't you
gaining anything.
gaining you had a broken Shemona, and now you're gaining a non-broken
Right,
Shemona
but
Ketorim.
correct. But Lamaisa, your Shemona Esrei is nothing. So again, there are those that disagree with the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and the best thing is to again daven with the Tanai. All right.
What do we hold? What do we hold as the din of the Shlumen? Is this just basically because I missed the whole davening, and now I have to?
Right. So
I'm given opportunity to just tower up.
yeah, basically that's the
Yeah.
shaila. Is it to make up the tefillah? So if that's the case, you have to daven again. But if you say that it's some sort of combination of it, so then your second tefillah is not really gaining you anything.
So that's basically would be a problem in any case where it's a different shmonesa, completely different shmonesa.
Yeah, yeah.
Even from
No, not
weekday
a
to
different
Shabbos,
Shemon Esrei.
Shabbos to
No,
weekday.
no, it's not a different Shemon Esrei. Here you do have a fee to daven again, but in this case, your new davening is not getting you anything. Right? All you're doing is davening the same Shemona Esrei again, which you did. That's what
Any
those
Yom
people.
Tov, any Yom Tov, any Rosh Chodesh, any whatever, Ato Chanantano. No, Chanantano we don't need to repeat, but and I'm saying any davening that you missed something that was part of Shemona Esrei is basically going to be the case. This case, yeah.
Right. And a Hanami. No, but there you're at least davening. You're at least you're davening a new davening, right? Meaning your davening was no good, so at least you're davening a new davening, right?
Isn't that the case with missing out Avoid? Isn't that me'akiv the Shemona Esrei from being Shemona Esrei? So it's as if you daven nothing.
It
But this
is.
time, but this time, it's not as if you daven nothing. It's you daven something, which is why you make up for it, even if though there's no
Yeah,
Yal
the question is
No,
what are you making up for? Are you making up for missed Shemona Esrei, or are you making up for part of tefillah that you missed?
well, that right. So then that's so yeah. So they're saying that you're not gaining anything from this thing. Um. Yeah, I'm saying it's what you're asking. What both of you are asking is a good kasha, right? It's hard to understand, which is why some disagree with this, right? But that's why the Mishnah Berurah comes. I think I don't know. Does the Mishnah Berurah say?
I think there are shitas that hold that it counts towards the number of brochas and amains.
What are you saying?
I think there are some shitas that hold that counts towards 100 brochas a day, even if you screwed up your Shemona Esrei.
I guess. I don't know. It's a whole tumult. I think I remember that Reb Chaim Kanievsky holds that you should repeat. Again, davening a second time with the Tanai is the best way to get out of the whole thing. That's. I used to tell people just don't daven again, and then with the Tanai, I don't know. Then with the problem is that people, it's hard for us to concentrate on regular shmanas. Forget about making Tanaya, right? Okay, Ches Tfilas Musaf. Afal Pishas Mana Kol Yom Tfilas Musaf. Even though the Zman is a whole day, you can have a Ma'ariv Tfilas Muchala, and if that's the case. So then Ma'ariv is the next tefillah. Musaf does not have tashlumin. So the tefillas Musaf niskana mishum unashama param sfasenu, because the whole Musaf is basically our words are representing the karbonas. And since the zman was passed, so then the carbon is batal. Yeah. Okay, we will stop there. Everybody should have a fine night, a good vach, a good yar, a good chodesh.
What time is the female thing?
Hilchas Yichud is at 8:30, and then Basar B'chol is 9:15.
You already had for notion?
At 8:30. 8:30.
That's
Hilchas
8:30.
Yichud.
Okay.
That's fair. It's really for everybody. It's just more woman based because it's more. There's no talking and there's no. It's me talking to myself. Everybody's muted because we're not having ladies' cameras on and we're not having their microphones on either. So
Same
that's
station? Same station?
there's going to be a different station. I mean, for the Yichud it's going to be on both stations because I think they didn't know that there was a new station, and the Basar B'chol was. You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll send
I'm
you
a busy guy over here.
Yeah. All right.
I'll go to Vach. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Ugh.
Fine. Okay. Good talk.
Turn around. Don't keep on going. Isn't that gorgeous?